Welcome back to USF 2000 AI League Season 4, race number 12 here at the Hungaroring. This is really our first time in this series where we've traveled to Eastern Europe. Mahavir Raghunathan, first car out on track. Hungaroring used a lot for Formula 1 races. We had an underdog winner in Formula 1 at this track, so let's see if we can get one here in UAL4. Raghunathan on the backside of the course, he'll be the first one to start a lap. As he goes way wide, and I think he just missed the tire barriers. He's getting himself out of that hole. He went on the brakes very late and just straight up missed the turn. Hopefully he doesn't do that when he's on a flying lap here in qualifying. So we got a lot of cars coming out of the pits now. There's definitely going to be a traffic jam. Gotta find good track position. Raghunathan already stuck behind, I think that's the 15 of Eliza Doe. Gonna be slowing him down, but he's already losing her. She's a little too fast. So he'll put down the time first, but OxyClean right behind is already doing better. In the pink right now. Raghunathan should be coming around to complete the second sector very soon. OxyClean just behind Raghunathan, coming through the final two turns. Locks up the brakes a little. That's not good. That's definitely gonna slow him down. John Panini with a pink in the second sector right now. A 1:56.6 is the current time to beat. OxyClean will come around with a 1:51, but John Panini is on a good lap. Let's see where this will go. Gonna be coming around. Doesn't appear to be first. That third sector was really lacking. Only good enough for third. Let's see if Tetsu can get up there. Got a pink in the first sector, a green in the second. Let's see about the third. Maborowski goes first with a 1:51.6. And Tetsu just behind. So the 20 currently on top. 1:51.6 has 3 top 10s in a row. It's currently doing pretty well. Spencer Alfredo slots into 5th. As the 0 of Chris has a pink in that second sector, as Chad Broski goes first with a 151.47. Around the final turn. Long right hand turn. And it's going to be first with a 149.9, a second and a half faster than the 84 of Chad Broski's time. The Broski pushed back to second. As Eliza Doe now pushes him back to third, as Eliza Doe goes second with a 151.3. Still over a second behind Chris. Let's see what championship contender Spring Roll can do. It's not first, and it's still over a second. As Wine Sealaman goes second with a 150.317, almost 7/10 above third place, but still 3/10 behind first place. Does anyone have anything left for the zero of Chris? Spencer Alfredo goes fourth, but not good enough. As Chad Broski scoots up into third. As David Bialois has a pink in the second sector. Thought he was about to come into pit road, and I was very confused. But here he goes. Where's it gonna be? It doesn't look like it's gonna be first. It'll only be good enough for fourth. Not close enough. Only 30 seconds left of qualifying. And nobody's been able to top the zero. The Favre shoots up to fifth. Pretty good for the 69. There's only 10 seconds left. The cars coming out around the final couple turns gotta hurry so they can get another lap, and I think Phil Slow will just miss being able to get another shot. Chris on their final lap right now. Tetsu shoots up to sixth for 150.9. Still about a second behind the leader. Spencer Alfredo moves up into fourth. Right now, it looks like nobody's able to challenge. Max Cole pretty high up in the championship. All the way down in 21st in qualifying. This has got to be a good lap. It's still like down in the 152s. Only moves him up to 20th. That is not very good for him. Chris does not improve. Still really good lap. As I don't think anyone's going to be able to beat this time. Saul Goodman shoots up to sixth. Spring Roll trying to improve. Where's this gonna be? This is not going to be an improvement of a lap. It is a little bit too slow. So he'll be starting around 9th place. So let's take a look at your starting grid. Chris put down a time of 1:49.9, the only card to go under a minute 50. So a very fast time there. Wine Silly Man about 3/10 behind. And then row 2 is Chad Broski and Spencer Alfredo. Row 3 is David Bialois and Saul Goodman. And then row 4 is the father, who is the last card to be under a second, and Tetsu Tetsu. Row 5 is teammates Spring Roll and Beijing Beef. And then row 6 is Diogo Sebastio and OxyClean. Row 7, Eliza Doe and Rogero Espinel. And then row 8 is Missing Sock and Sussus Amogus. Row 9, John Panini and Phil Slow, defending race winner, gonna be starting way back in the field. And then row 10 is May Borowski and Karishima. Row 11, fourth in the championship, I believe, is Gus Fring. He's gonna be starting all the way back in 21st. He had to start really far back at Road America, but finished pretty well. And then Jacques Croissant starting 22nd. And then row 12 is the Sun and Max Cold, who's pretty high up there in the championship, gonna be starting all the way back in second to last, and then Mahavir Raghunathan about 6 seconds behind first place. Let's take a look at your championship standings coming into this race. Spring Roll still leads the championship, but Chris in Beijing Beef tied for second, but luckily for Chris, they will be starting in first place. Gus Fring in fourth. Phil Slow moved up to fifth. That's Tetsu Tetsu, Max Cold, Saul Goodman, Karishima, Sebastio, Panini, Chad Broski, Eliza Doe, David Bialois, OxyClean, Spencer Alfredo, Wine Sillyman, The Father, and then the back of the pack, May Borowski, Sussus Amogus, Missing Sock, Jacques Croissant, The Sun, Ruggiero Espinel, and Mahavir Raghunathan. And then let's take a look at your team standings. First place is Spring Speed. Both of those cars will be starting in row 5 with Spring Roll and Beijing Beef. And then Vasily Snorters, it's a one-car team, but they're going to be on pole. Then Los Polos Hermanos will be in third place, followed by the Flat Earthers, the Magenta Saucies, who got both of their cars in the top 5 last race. That'd be Phil Slow and Spencer Alfredo. And then Team YouTube, BFL Racing, The Graveyard, The Laundry Boys, Ruidam Sebastian Racing Foot, La Vitesse, Team RAS, The Italian Mob, and Raghunathan Racing. Race info. It's a pretty warm 83 degrees. Track temp almost 120 degrees, so it's pretty hot. About 2.7 miles around this track. It's very clear weather. And then this is the first time we've ever been here. No previous winners. Brand new track to the series. So now we get ready to go. All the cars currently lined up on the back half of the course, and then they'll be rolling off in about 35 seconds. So some predictions going into this race. I think Chris will win once again. I just think you're up by 3/10, and the last track they've went to that was like mainly a Formula One track. Chris absolutely dominated. That was at the Red Bull Ring. I think we could see that again. But Wine Silly Man definitely going to be fighting hard. The only one under half a second in qualifying behind Chris. Hungaroring, not the best place with passing opportunities, but it can be done on certain parts of the track, especially the front stretch going into turn 1. Pace car pulls off down pit road. Here we go through the final turn. Chris already gets a good jump, and it's green flag here at the Hungaroring. Chad Broski already right behind Chris. Gonna be looking to send it into turn 1. But Chris just outbrakes, but goes a little wide. Chad Broski gonna be right there. Wasn't too great of a start for Chris, as Chad Broski almost got a chance to go down the inside. Got some battling back here, a little bit of fanning out. But now we head towards the chicane. Saul Goodman trying to look by Wine Silly Man, who fell back to third at the start. Still in the podium places, however. Chad Broski just over half a second back, now closing in. If he can get a good exit through the final couple turns, he could get a good run going into turn 1. Chris under pressure from Chad Broski. Half a second back. Wasn't too great of a run, but he can try and get into the slipstream and follow all the way down into turn 1. Then behind you see Wine Silly Man trying to defend his position. Chris once again locks it up. Hasn't really been too great into that turn 1. Chad Broski right behind. Where can he try to look for a passing opportunity? Gonna be right behind. I would try and send it. But he will just stay behind. As now they go up towards the chicane. Not the best passing opportunity, but it can be done. Chad Broski still patiently waiting behind Chris. Not the best exit out of that turn, the one before. Not really doing too well through this third sector and losing some time. Definitely not going to be close enough to try a pass. As we see behind Saul Goodman trying to chase Wine Silly Man, who set the fastest lap of 151.4. The 60 tries to look, but there's just not any space. Tetsu trying to look by Spencer Alfredo. Almost tries going around the outside. Through that fast low kink. On to lap 3. As the 60 of Saul Goodman. Right behind Wine Silly Man now for 3rd place. Let's see what can be done. Tetsu trying to take a peek around Spencer Alfredo for 5th place. Chris sets the fastest lap of 150.556. Let's see if anyone can beat that. As the 60 once again tries to pass the 46, but not close enough. As the 84 has came right back to the 0 of Chris. Let's take a look at sector times. Three tenths gained on, and Chad Broski still trying to get closer. Let's take a look at your track map. As Ragunathan appears to have gone off track at some point. Got back going. He is 8 seconds behind the car in front. So not going too hot for him so far. Second sector, it seems like Chris got away just a little bit, but that last turn, Chad Broski was a bit better. About 2 seconds was gained on that gap. And then this final sector will be, I would say, another gain for Chris. As yes, that is what happens. Saul Goodman again trying to catch Wine Silly Man, but just not really doing enough, as David Bialois and Tetsu side by side trying to go into turn 1. Bialois looking for 6. Biggest mover right now is Espinel, up 4 spots. Just inside the top 10. Biggest loser, the father, down 5 spots, started 7th, now down in 12th, just a little bit behind. Spencer Alfredo trying to get by Saul Goodman. Not a lot of passing has been happening up in the front. Spencer Alfredo, if he wanted to, he could try to make a lunge down into this turn. Tries looking, but just not there. Gonna have to wait on that, as Chad Broski trying to close in on Chris. Chris has not been too good in that first sector. So if Chris locks up again into turn 1, Chad Broski can take full advantage. Gonna have to try and send it as here he goes down the inside. This is a battle for the lead. Chad Broski just edges ahead, but now Chris is gonna be in on the inside at the next turn. Chris fighting back, but Chad Broski still hanging on. Side by side through the first 3 turns, but Chris just stays ahead, as that was a really good battle for the lead, but Broski is not done yet. Just gotta stay with Chris. It's definitely possible. Staying close to each other. If Chad Broski can nail this turn coming up, he can try and send it about 2 attempts back. Not gonna look for it. Just gonna stay behind as Chris locks it up a little. Gained a little bit of an advantage in doing so. Chad Broski not getting these last 2 turns. If he can do them right, they can be really good, but most of the time just loses some time. Chad Broski not gonna look for it this time. A little too far back. The cars behind them have kind of spread out a little. Chad Broski, 1 career win. That was at Lime Rock in Season 3. Chris has gotten 3 wins just this season. Chad Broski, gonna compare best times, see who does have a better time. Chris has the fastest lap as of now. Just barely over the 84. Chad Broski so close. Let's go on board. As he blows right by Chris, but once again, Chris holding on very well. Chad Broski now just clears Chris, but I definitely think Chris is not done just yet. It was a late lunge by Chad Broski, but it has appeared to work. Now he's got to try and build a gap. See how this goes. Chris better in the last 2 turns, which can really decide on how your pass is gonna go. Chad Broski lost a little time exiting the final turn, but caught right back up after braking a little bit later into turn 1. We're gonna have to see if Chris can bring that back to them. Chad Broski locks it up a little bit, but now a second up on Chris. As Chad Broski goes way wide and almost gives away the lead. Just one small mistake and he almost lost it. And now Chris is going to be right there. Chad Broski, however, will lead a lap. So that is an extra point right there. A 150.9 was his lap time. Gussie, who can break later, spring roll sets the fastest lap and to immediately be overtaken by Beijing Beef with a 150.42 free. As now fastest lap is Chris trying to look for the lead. Not able to pass. It's a good battle up here. I'd say the pit stop window would be somewhere between lap 15 to lap 20. That's where I would try and guess where it would be. Chris won at Imola, which was a road course, then won at Atlanta, an oval, and then won again at the Red Bull Ring. That was, I think, round 7, I would believe. So it's been about 5 races since the last win. But Chad Broski hasn't won in about a season. Chad Broski will lead another lap. Just a little bit quicker than Chris on that one. Chris keeps trying to look for passing opportunities, but they aren't there. We're just before the halfway point in this race. As these two are sticking together, not letting each other go. Right on the back of the 84. Could get a good shot going into here, but while they're battling, Wine Silliman is slowly closing in, about a second and a half behind Chris. So we could have a freeway battle for first place later on. As we have a crash, the father has had an incident. Let's see if we can go back and see what happened. Was it just an off track or was there some damage? No, it just was a massive lockup and sent him wide. Lost a couple spots all the way down in 15th. Lost 8 spots this race. Biggest loser, biggest mover, Max Cold, up 6 spots, 24th to 18th. Just still trying to cut down, pass some more cars. Wine Silly Man just in the back. Tables have turned as now it's Chris trying to pass Chad Broski. Spring roll. First in the championship, currently stuck behind Tetsu trying to look for a way around. He's got his teammate Beijing Beef, who is tied for second, but now is basically third as Chris is battling for the lead and has closed in on Chad Broski. Lifts off just a little bit as Broski locks up in the penultimate corner. Now here they go around the final turn. Another lock up for the 84. That's going to give the Zero a chance to get behind, but gets a bad exit as Broski will stay just ahead. As Saul Goodman sets the fastest lap with a 1:49.9. Very quick. Very close together down through the trees. This turn, not really good passing opportunity. You have to slow down for it, but you don't really get a chance to overtake any cars. Just by each other. This really shows how close they are. Not a lot of straights into heavy braking zones, so there's not a lot of passing opportunities. The first turn is really the best one. You could try and pass here, but you have to be really close to the car or make them have a mistake. Just behind. Got to be close going out of that final turn. It's gonna be close. Now here they go. Down the front stretch you can see Chad Broski trying to take a defensive line. As here we go, Chris has pulled alongside. How'll this go? Chris gonna have to go the long way around, but Chad Broski holds on very well to keep that position. Wine Silly Man fell back a little bit. Chris trying to look again. Definitely not close enough. Beijing Beef got by his teammate Spring Roll. Now gonna be looking right behind Tetsu. Peaks a little. Can't go for the pass. Chris still following right behind Chad Broski. Not letting each other go. Mahavir Raghunathan, half a minute behind the car in front and over a minute behind the leaders. Could get lapped before the end of this race, the pace he's going. As the 16 of David Bialois right behind. This is Spring Roll. Gonna need to try to keep ahead, because right now going to lose about 16 points to Chris, so definitely will probably remain in the points lead, but not by much. Definitely not what he wants to see, as Chris once again just gets a little close to Chad Broski, but can't get him. Has to really nail the final turn. Eight tenths is the gap between them. Keep it updated if they get close on the front stretch. Right back here, even the cars kind of spread out. First battle under half a second is for 12th. 13th between Eliza Doe and Sussus Amogus. So it's very far back in the field. Spring Roll gonna try and size up a pass on his teammate Beijing Beef. This is for 7th spot. As Spring Roll going around the outside just makes it stick. How's this gonna go? If there's anyone you don't want to take out of a race, that'd be your teammate, so they gotta be a little more careful. And now it falls right back into Beijing Beef's hands, but Spring Roll flies around the outside just to keep a position. That was a nice little battle right there. Spring Roll up into 7th place. Beijing Beef still right behind. As Saul Goodman has gone off track. Where did this happen? Oh, just completely missed the chicane. And had to go through the kitty litter. Back on track, but lost a little bit of time to the car in front. As Phil Slow has gone off track. Does the same exact thing. But this time he will maybe lose a spot. Just will. As Karishima just barely edges ahead. Not the day Phil Slow would have wanted. As Beijing Beef still fighting. As Chad Broski sets the fastest lap of a 1:49.2. About a second and a half faster than the lap that Chris put out. Chad Broski definitely the car to beat this race. Will Beijing Beef try and send it just like how Spring Roll sent it? No, we'll just stay behind. As now Missing Sock has gone off by battling Gus Fring for 19th all the way down in the field. Missing Sock trying to stay ahead, taking that inside line. Gus Fring also not having the day he would have wanted, as Missing Sock will stay ahead. Little exchange there. Eliza Doe trying to get by Sussus Amogus for 13th, as Beijing Beef has gone off track. I assume it has to be similar to what happened. Oh, missed that and then hops over the curbs. That could get a little bit of floor damage or nose damage if you hit one of those. the wrong way. So we gotta be thinking about pit stops now. When will cars come in? I'd estimate around lap 17, 18, or 19 would probably be when cars would start to come in. Some may come in early, who knows. '51 Max Cold up the most spots, up 7, but still really far down as it stands in 17th, started 24th. So just really hasn't been a day to remember for the 51 despite making the most passes. Now trying to get around Maborowski for 16th. That ain't gonna happen. Once again trying to fight back, going the long way around. Tried looking for it. Couldn't get done. Really close together right here. It's Maborowski, then John Panini. Or sorry, Max Cold, and then John Panini. You could tell they're teammates because they have the same car colors. Just Max Cold has white, has more white, and then John Panini has more black. As Eliza Doe has gone off track and spun it around right in the chicane. Hopped the curb, maybe spun it around from there. Yeah, just slightly hopped it in a bad way and then lost so much time. As now we go live and the sun has also came off track. I wonder what happened here. Just another no spin, but Eliza Doe falls all the way back to an agonizing 22nd. That's gotta hurt. As now, Chris has closed back in on Chad Broski. So the fight for the lead definitely not done. Let's check last lap times. Chris at their fastest lap. Not the fastest lap, but their fastest lap. And closed in the gap tremendously to Chad Broski. Now back up to about a second. David Bialois fighting for 9th. One of the closer battles on track, but we gotta be thinking about when will cars start to pit. I would assume this time by Chad Broski, a second and a half up on Chris. So if he lost that time, he'd need a really slow pit stop. As he will be coming in this time. Gotta see if everyone will come in or if anyone will try and go longer. I'd assume everyone will be coming in this time by as yes, it looks like everyone is coming in. Gonna have to see who will get the better pit stop between the front two. Will they become closer or will they be more spread out? Chad Broski gets a 7.9, but Chris gets a 7.3. So no major change there, as it seems like a couple cars may have stayed out. Seems like John Panini stayed out. Got to see why he did that. Also seems like Phil Slow may have stayed out. We can definitely see who stayed out by looking at the pit lap. John Panini, Spencer Alfredo, Phil Slow, Karishima, and then Jacques Croissant. They all stayed out, and then Mahavir Raghunathan hasn't even reached pit entry. So a couple cars deciding to go a little bit longer. So far, that's been a pretty good choice in some of these races. Saul Goodman right behind Wine Silliman for third place. That'd be another third position for Saul Goodman. Has not finished above third place this whole season. I think he's the highest up in points without a win. And Sussus Amogus has gone off track at the chicane. Doesn't seem like he lost any positions. So now most cars are done with pit stops. Some still have to complete them. John Panini has entered pit road. Still slow, now in. Karishima is in. And then Jacques Croissant has come in. As Saul Goodman tries to take a peek, and then Wine Silliman locks it up and goes way wide. Almost lost a spot there. Still keeps it ahead. Wine Silliman now starting to make a lot of mistakes. As Raghunathan has entered pit road, the last car that needs to pit. Seems like staying out longer helped some of these cars, as Karishima has now gone off track. Was it in the chicane? No, it was somewhere else. What happened here? Oh, it just went wide. Gonna be right behind him now. He can try to send it going into turn 1. Let's see if he will do that. We have about 5 laps to go. He doesn't, he'll just stay behind. So fastest pit time would be, some of the best I can see are 7.3s. Those are from Karishima, Saul Goodman, Chris. All got 7.3. Slowest pit stop is a 12.3 from the Sun. Not too fast there. The only one to get a 2-digit time on their pit stops. Chad Broski is approaching lap traffic up ahead. That is Mahavir Raghunathan. Don't know if he'll reach him before the end of the race. As the father has gone off track again and has spun it around. Just kept it off the wall, did the same thing Eliza Doe did. except was stuck backwards as he got going yet. Ooh, just missed the wall there. All the way down in 21st now. Definitely not ideal. Down 14 spots since the start of this race. That was on fresh tires, so that's definitely not something you'd want to have happen. Saul Goodman once again tries to look for a pass for third. Can't get it done. Then Tetsu trying to get by Spencer Alfredo, also to no avail. Three cars right here. That is 5th, 6th, and 7th. Beijing Beef lost a little bit of time on the pit stop, fell behind a little bit. Tetsu trying to get close, but Spring Roll is right behind him. Tetsu 4/10 behind Spencer Alfredo, but Spring Roll is about 4/10 behind Tetsu, so it's definitely pretty close up here. Spring Roll could have made a lunge for it, but decided not to. A little bit tight. It's a tighter turn than what it looks like it should be. As the sun has gone off track. As Susasamogus has crashed. Where is that? That is the penultimate turn. So about there. As everything just appeared to have glitched. We have to go live. I don't know what happened there. There we go. Sorry about that. Everything just kind of glitched for me on my screen. But Pierce Susasamogus had gone wide as we have a free wide battle down the front stretch back here. Look at this. As Spring Roll has gone off track. Definitely appears to have happened in the chicane, just like most of these cars, except for Susasamogus. Went off in a place we haven't really seen before. That chicane has caused a lot of problems in this race. Saul Goodman once again trying to get by the 46. 2 laps to go. Saul Goodman's going to make an attempt at this. This would be the best time to do so. Gonna have to go the long way around. Just have to outbrake the 46. It's gonna be side by side going into turn 1. But Wine Silliman once again defends really well. Keeps him at bay. While Chad Broski may have some problems to deal with up ahead. Up ahead is the 17 of Mahavir Raghunathan. Lap traffic. Gonna have to hope that Chris can't catch up because of that. Got a 3-second lead. as Spencer Alfredo has gone off track in the chicane and falls out of the top 5. Could have been back-to-back top 5s for Spencer Alfredo, but he messed up the chicane. Now he's going to fall behind. Chad Broski now coming up to Mahavir Raghunathan. Probably won't be able to pass him in turn 1. So going to be a little congested, whatever, on the last lap. Here we go. Chad Broski takes the white flag. 2.5 seconds is the gap. Gonna come right up to Raghunathan right after the main passing opportunity. Chris, however, did not get a good turn 1. Raghunathan not even gonna defend around the outside as Chad Broski just scoots on by. We haven't really seen a pass there, but I guess you can do it when there's lap traffic. And now is holding up the 0 of Chris who can't get by. Chad Broski, a phenomenal day. Only gained 2 spots, but that was good enough. Started in row 2. Immediately got by Wine Silliman at the start. And then passed Chris around the middle. Well, just about halfway. It took off since then. Only had to deal with a little bit of lap traffic and perfectly maneuvered around that. Now goes through the final 2 turns. Chad Broski has not won since Lime Rock last season. Been pretty close this year, but has made some mistakes. He'll want to be back into the championship fight, and this will definitely help him, as Chad Broski comes around the final turn to win the Hungarian Grand-Prix. A good race as Sussus Amogus has gone off again in the chicane right before the finish and will fall down to 24th. Chad Broski definitely going to help him in the championship. Chris, although it wasn't a win, will close the gap down to Spring Roll. And Wine Silliman was just looking for a good result and will get a podium today, just at beating out Saul Goodman for 3rd place. So, Chad Broski wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. So now let's take a look at your results. Chad Broski just under 3 seconds ahead of Chris for the win. Was a strong outing for the 84 team. Wine Silliman gets a good podium. I think that's his best result of the season. First podium of the year. Saul Goodman will get 4th. Could have been a podium, but just didn't have enough pace. About 2/10 behind Wine Silliman. And then Saul Goodman, right behind him is Tetsu, who just passed Spencer Alfredo after he cut the chicane. After what could have been back-to-back top 5s. Teammate Spring Roll and Beijing Beef will take up 7th and 8th. Ruggiero Espinel will get a top 10, coming home in ninth. And then 10th will be David Bialowas. Had to try and carry the torch for his teammate after she made a mistake in the chicane. Diogo Sebastião will be 11th. 12th is OxyClean. 13th, May Borowski was not able to back up uh, free back-to-back top 10s. Beijing Beef, however, I think this is now his 5th top 10 in a row. John Panini 14th. Gus Fring 15th, trying to gain some positions. Biggest mover in the race is Max Cold up 8 spots. Missing Sock 17th. Phil Slow 18th was definitely not a strong week for him. And now we scroll down to the rest of the field. We have Karishima, the father, who had such a strong qualifying but lost 13 spots in the race, just made a lot of mistakes. Liza Doe could have had a good race, finishes 21st. Jacques Croissant 22nd, 23rd is the Sun. 24th, Sussa Samogas could have been a top 15, but messed it up on the final lap. And then Mahavir Raghunathan finishes one lap down in 25th. So that is it from the Hungarian Grand Prix. Was a pretty solid race, had some good battling throughout the field. Sometimes the field got a little spread out. Up next, we return to the United States, this time going to Mid-Ohio. It's provided some pretty good racing in the past, and I will see you then. Goodbye.